How's it going, YouTube? GG here with Spencer Kruse, true Michigander, getting his second top after the win at a regional, now going back to back getting third place. What'd you do today, and how'd it go?
Yesterday at the Indy Regional went 8-1 with Maliss again. Last regional went 9-0, winning Columbus with Maliss. Slightly different deck list. This is 42 cards. Still just playing very similar things though. But we recorded a fun little profile at the Mexican restaurant yesterday, but copyrighted music doesn't play nice on YouTube. Anyways, some shout outs, of course, man behind the camera, GGYGO. You know, always going to events with them, being a concert buddy, always having good information and being able to run a lot of ideas by all the guys in the car, Craig, Miguel, and Jacob. You know, being the homies to go to events with and making it fun regardless of how you do. And Jacob for letting me borrow some bougie cards, letting me borrow QCR, Gold Sark, Underground, and Fireball. And then because of how I did, he ended up just trading me the deck box. That's why I don't have it with me for the field spell. Because, you know, it's really a cool addition, and everyone had to comment on it when I searched it off ransom yesterday, so made it a staple. But 42 cards, a little different than last time. Getting into it, 3 of all of the names. You do just need to see names in this deck. The consistency can be a little awkward. I personally don't like Allure in this deck. It makes very weird dichotomy of your normal summon kind of doesn't do anything, or Bestials become just blank extenders if you have to Bestial a name after you've already banished it. And I like my non-engine just being more impactful and a little. Chelsea's a great start because it forces your opponent to ash something that they realistically don't want to ash. But if it goes through, it's just Pedigree that also just kind of gets everything going. And 3 names, just no matter how you spin it, is just needed for the consistency. Going from 40 cards to 42, it reduced the odds of seeing one of these by a little over %, and then the odds of seeing Shifter by like a little over 1.5%. But there was one I really wanted to cut non-engine wise, so to me that was a fine change. And one of each of the traps. Yeah, can't play any more, any less. Hand traps, the Goat, Magnamut, 3 Druid Worm, 1 Baldrake. These are all great. Druid Worm kind of makes your opponent react and just try to do weird plays to where they don't get caught off guard by it based on when you link it off. Definitely, you know, puts the fear of God in people with stuff like Chaos Angel and stuff in the format, and just being able to chain block the send as well. Just overall a great card. Baldrake, he's good. I would play more of him if I wasn't playing other non-engine currently, but never had any complaints. I think I only used the banish effect once yesterday, but it was fine. 3 Shifter, reason to play this version of the deck. God card, if you're going to play it, main it. Hopefully it gets banned. Rock. Rock was decent. It wasn't as good this time around just because I didn't see it whenever my opponents were like going off. It was kind of weird that I just, you know, when I hit my opponents with some like Impermash, they just ended up stopping at like 3 summons a lot of times. And then, you know, like when my opponents were comboing off, Rock was nowhere to be found. And I sided it out a little more, and I'll show off why later, because something different I tried with the side deck. 3 Ash, stops Fula, stops Duo Drive. But most importantly, Metatronus has become a mainstay in the format, and that card is just so versatile and just wrecks end boards, just being a quick play ultimate slayer pretty much. So I wanted to stop that at all costs. And it's just Ash, most generic card in the game, so you should play it. Imperm, I know a lot of Maliss players don't play this, but the fact that it's a hand trap that doesn't trigger talents is a good draw for turn and is just so universal. I think you should in any hand trap deck that isn't just super heavy engine. And it also makes this card, Impulse, better. The best card in the deck. It overperformed. Every time I saw that, I felt amazing, and I don't think I lost a game seeing that. Last non-engine, called by. It's called by. It's at 1. I'm going to play it in the main. the 3 Metotronus. I wasn't really sold on this card before this weekend, but I changed my extra deck up around to accommodate it, and it was very good. It got Ash and Impulse more than I'd like, but it's so good that it just demands those responses. And when it does resolve, you probably just win the game. Then a 1 of Talents. I didn't have this on the side, and I was going to cut down to 40 cards, but I ended up just wanting kind of these 3 of ratios in my side deck, and it felt fine seeing it. You know, having it in there game 1 sometimes is good. It's Talents. Never complained about resolving that card. It was dead like twice over the 9 rounds, but that's fine. Get into the links. The link ones, both insane. Decoder, extra body, also just gets guy off board. You know, the virtue of link 1. And Lingaribo in the mirror, this card is insane. So much heavy lifting. You know, stops MTPs and GWCs, Impulse, Purge. This card really does everything you want. If you see a name plus a Bestial, you can just normal summon the name before you even use the effect, link it off, and then put him out, and then Bestial the name, and then even if they impermit, you're sitting pretty good. And then it makes Shifter plays really good as well. Your link 2s for comboing, Lizard and Splash. I go through Lizard a lot. I know some people prioritize going Binder. But even without Dotscaper, with how I play the deck, I pretty much always go through this guy because I never want to link lock myself, and I always want to get the follow-up on my 5th summon, so I never have to just kind of hope that, you know, I see another Bestial or that one of these awkward plays resolves. Splash Mage is there for when you open Field Spell, or if you get like double hand trapped. It's fine. Firewall is a pretty solid endboard piece. I didn't love it before, but the more I kind of played with it, the more I liked it, and, you know, saw the value in Splash Mage. I kind of wanted to play Heat Soul. It's something I'd done before, but didn't have the room for it. That was kind of my thing, is what if you don't have any mouse links to go into after you've resolved Splash Mage. But Firewall usually got there. IPSP. This is for when you get Lancet in weird scenarios where you might get a second body on board somehow. SB. Or Fuwood. Just not giving them all the draws. I'm just going to play on your turn. SP's SP. Everyone knows what that card does. It's, you know, it does anything you want it to in this deck. I don't combo through it as much as other Maliss players do, but it's still, you know, just an insane interrupt and a way to kind of dodge targeting if you get to read your opponents on a bunch of imperms and veilers. Dark, this is the card I am so back and forth on. In premise, it is insane being able to just convert a Bestial or any other body into a Dormouse or White Rabbit, but I literally never did that yesterday. I resolved the summon effect off Dark once in a mirror, and it was on a name I already used, and I tried Metotronus in it once, and that got ashed. So, it is what it is. There's a few other cards I think this could be, but I'll get to that after. And Link 3s, one of each of the Maliss cards. You don't need 2 Binder. Unicorn's not prevalent. And even if it gets banished face down off, you know, something like Unicorn or Fenrir or Tronus, you're still fine. You still have plenty of ways to play. You just got to realize that you're not going to have that follow-up GWC every turn. And you kind of got to rely on stuff like SP and Cryptor a little more. Cryptor's insane. If that hits board, you should be winning the game. The 4s, Firewall and Access. Firewall is really good once I kind of got used to playing this style of the deck without Dotscaper, because if you full combo, you end up with each of the names engraved, Firewall, GWC on board. And that may seem pretty innocuous, but that's a lot of points of interaction, and you don't really lose to much. Like, sure, a Bell could catch you off guard, but I'm not going to leave GWC as my only follow-up play if I don't have a Bestial, so sometimes I might just end on the Cryptor instead, just to be a little bit safer. And then Tronus targets, you can argue that you can make some of these, but I never did. Detonator, obviously you have to banish from face down because of twins. Cerberus, in theory, it's there for Chaos Hunter. I haven't gotten Chaos Hunter like much. I think I've been hit by like twice since I've played the deck in its entirety. It's a cool card. I find that under Shifter, just going in 2 bodies and discarding another name from hand when you get impermed actually comes up with this a little more than clearing stuff like Hunter. And then a Bow. Yeah, I've never like made this card. Even when I was playing Griffin, it just doesn't really come up. Tronus targets for Desiree, Caesar, and then this one, Baguska and Barrel, because Drill Beam is the best card in the deck that plays those stuff, so I definitely want to get that out of rotation. Other things that could have been in the extra deck instead of like Dark or maybe Cerberus. Typhon, that would have came up a few times. Phoenix, I just like the utility, but it wasn't necessary yesterday. And then, I don't know, maybe Heat Soul, that does come up in Opera game states. The side deck, since, we're playing the best deck, we got a side for the best deck. 3 Lancia, 3 Fua. Don't main this card. If you see it going first, you have to consider passing. If you, your only play would die to an imperm, because having a dead card in Maliss is just detrimental. You need all your cards to be live, because your choke points are very awkward and will always guarantee you have stuff on board. Duster and 2 Storm. Storm is here for pure Ryzeal, because that deck is really scary, especially post-board. You expect them to set up like multiple traps, like strikes, judgments, imperm, maybe even like set Tronuses. Cross is just annoying to deal with in general. And there's not a clean way to deal with all this stuff at once, besides side deck cards. And for Blue-Eyes as well, I ended up siding out Nibs into Blue-Eyes, because I realized if you interact with them at all, against Maliss, they get scared and usually don't commit into the Nib. So I decided if I'm not gonna just put bodies on board, might as well have the thing that just clears everything. Sure, they can Spirit negate their own True Light being popped, but that's fine because you've cleared everything. You've cleared Drill Beam, you've cleared the pop trap, and their follow-up's really weak if they do that, because then Spirit just tags onto an Omni, and that's pretty much all they have. 3 Thrusts, it gets you the good back row blowouts, gets you Talents, gets you Sark or Terraforming if you really need it. 3 was too many. It should have been 2. I almost never sided in 3 going first or second, just because of the ratios of how cards come in and out. But this was just something I did late at night. I couldn't really make a better decision, and was kind of having choice paralysis. But it ended up being fine. Thrust is Thrust. I would definitely play it. Sanctum, Mischief of the Gnomes, and Different Dimension Ground. Sanctum obviously gets Lancia. You expect to get Lancia'd in the mirror, so Thrust is always going to be live. And if they don't Lancia you probably just win off comboing turn 1. Mischief, really good in testing. Didn't come up yesterday. I never thrusted for it, never hard drew it, because all the times that I saw Thrust in the matchups I sided in, either they never activated a monster effect, it was only like imperms, or I already had like DDG, which this card's insane. This just a D-Fissure for 1 turn. It's basically just like a searchable shifter in how it actually plays. And even if you get stopped in a weird spot, just making it so your guys will float on their turn and they can't activate like Maiden and stuff is crazy. Yeah, I definitely recommend this card. This card overperformed. It was probably the best card in my side deck besides like Duster. No Droll was scary for decks like Mitsu. Didn't play any of that. White Forest, didn't play any of that. But ended up just not seeing a lot of my side deck most of the time and just kind of powering through with my engine and just like the non-engine that was actually in the main deck, because the cards are that powerful, and if you are patient and sequence properly, Maliss just goes off. Yeah, I also thought about Perulia. That's probably what I would cut down on some of these cards for, like maybe cut like a Elstorm and Thrust, just because they cover so well. And with how your side ratios go, they also just go into Rogue a little bit better. Yeah, the event was good. You know, obviously I dropped a single match to Blue-Eyes, and it wasn't really because Blue-Eyes beat me. It was just game 1 and game 3, the same thing. I didn't see a Maliss card for like 5 turns, and they were just poking me for like 25, then like traded a Druid's Worm or something to survive, but it was what it was. It was unfortunate. The rest of my matches, I was pretty convincingly winning. And yeah, the event was good. Feels good to have back-to-back tops. Matchups, God, re-recording this. Memento, Ryzeal Mitsu, Maliss. Gosh, I'm missing 2. Tenpai, and I think another Ryzeal variant. Dropped like 5 games in total across the day. And yeah, went good.
Excellent.